We have one more talk, and that is Annajean Hamel from the NEDCC, which is she is the lead preparator and paper conservation technician from the Northeast Document Conservation Center in Andover, Massachusetts. And her talk today is Openable Photo Corners, an improvement on the standard photo corner.
This is Annajean Hamel, Lead Preparator and Paper Conservation Technician at NEDCC, or the Northeast Document Conservation Center in Andover, Massachusetts. I'm here to speak with you about a simple and useful technique, openable photo corners, an improvement on the standard photo corner. While I explain the rationale behind this method, I will show you how I work in the video here, and I will demonstrate 4 different styles of openable corners. Non-adhesive attachments such as photo corners, strip hinges, and Z-trays are useful for matting and framing, as well as in storage and packing applications. These kinds of mounting techniques for works on paper, photographic materials, and other flat objects require the use of appropriate materials like papers, which are acid-free and lignin-free, archival-grade polyester films, and tapes or adhesives that pass the Photographic Activity Test, or PAT. Though we're not adhering anything to the object with these methods, we must still consider that the attachments we use have the potential to cause damage, especially on objects with sensitive exposed surfaces like bare plate photographic materials and objects with friable media like pastel and charcoal drawings, or objects with degrading iron gall inks. Attachments can be the cause of damage in the form of abrasion or as a result of any failure that could occur when photo corners fail and drop off their backing board, allowing an artwork to fall from its mount. Also to consider are any adverse reactions that could be caused to a work by our choice of adhesive. Self-adhesive tapes pose a risk of adhesive migration or could inflict damage on a work if they should fail and fall onto the surface of the piece. For these reasons, we must choose our materials carefully and apply them with careful consideration and attention to detail. With a basic folded paper photo corner, strips of appropriate paper like microchamber are folded at 45-degree angles to create a right-angled, triangle-shaped pocket to secure the 4 corners of a rectangular object. In a conservation lab setting, these corners are usually taped down with an appropriate tape such as Filmoplast P90, favored for this purpose because it passes the PAT, relative reversibility, and its clean, tidy appearance. To remove these corners, either the tape needs to be removed by the mechanical action of peeling or sliced to release the object within. It is inadvisable to try and remove works without first removing the corners. It is common to find that objects have been removed by bending and pulling the artwork out of corners without first removing them. Doing so can crack and break brittle objects, cause abrasion to the object's surface, and result in the cracking of emulsion layers. This is especially true for photographic materials. When photo corners are removed, the mounts they are attached to are often marred by skinning or slice marks. Depending on the level of perfection required of mounting materials in the collection, it can vary. Window mounts may need to be rehinged to new backing boards or discarded when objects come back from traveling exhibition and are removed from travel enclosures, or when access to the verso of an object is needed by researchers. Because of these factors, openable photo corners are an improvement on the basic folded photo corner. Objects can be easily removed without a knife and without peeling away tapes. Backing boards remain undamaged, and mats can potentially be reused over and over again with the same sized objects as with gallery rotations for works on paper. This has the potential to save time and materials. Objects could be safer when people with access to the collection, like researchers and curatorial staff, are not tempted to break open photo corners on their own to gain access to the verso of an object. Openable photo corners are made from longer strips of paper which can be folded up and placed over the corner of a work on paper and then later unfolded to release the work. This attachment is very useful with collections of prints and photographs, and with pieces which may be matted for exhibition multiple times. There's more than one way to accomplish this. Fold paper photo corners by diagonally folding strips of paper 2 times so that the fold lines intersect in the center, creating a pocket. Fold a square piece of paper diagonally 2 times so that the fold lines intersect in the center, then unfold and choose a triangle to be the face of the photo corner. Fold in the triangle sections next to the face, between the face and the back side, and flatten. This method is more useful for packing than matting and framing because of the seam that exists on the center interior of the corner pocket. Carefully place the object on its backing board and weight it in place. Slip the folded paper photo corner over the corners of the object. If the object is to be matted, test the arrangement and overmatting by viewing the object with the window mat in place. If the photo corners are visible inside the mat opening, it may be possible to trim down or notch out a portion of the photo corners to conceal them. Trace the outside edge of the photo corners lightly in pencil and remove the object, or tack the photo corner to the backing board in place lightly with low-tack tape to keep it on its spot. Adhere the bottom portion of the photo corners in place with an appropriate adhesive such as wheat starch paste, Klucel G, or a synthetic acrylic adhesive. Use minimal adhesive and make sure that the adhesive does not extend outside the area where the photo corner is placed. Artwork should not come in contact with the adhesive even when it's dry. Work as cleanly and precisely as possible. The top flap of the openable photo corners can be held down by a window mat or cover sheet. Prepared and folded photo corners can be flattened in a heat press by ironing or other flattening method prior to attachment for maximum flatness. The top section of photo corners, which have been notched out, can be tucked into a slit in the lower corresponding section if the material allows. I know it can be hard to change the way you've been working, especially if you've been working in a certain way for a long time, but I really hope you'll give these openable corners a try and see how well they can work. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you'll get in touch and let me know how this method is working for you, or if you have any other ideas or tricks that can be incorporated with this attachment technique.
Thank you, Annajean. Would you like to come up for questions? I love those photo corners. They're really great. I'd use the system. The NEDCC also is a great resource. So thanks.
Wow, all you guys were incredibly hard acts to follow, but I'm happy to be here. Any questions?
We have one virtual comment, which is just awesome, it says. And then there's another question that, well, it says, the video that you made was so appreciated. That technique of showing us what you did was really great. And can you share your decision-making process for using one of the adhesives over another? It's probably a big question.
Yeah, well, I usually use wheat starch paste. I'm in a paper conservation lab, and that's my top choice for anything. But if I'm packing works on paper to travel, maybe like a whole bunch of wrapped works that are going to be attached to boards and layered and shipped out, then I might use something a little beefier like PVA. But I really wouldn't want to use the PVA in like a sealed package or any kind of permanent enclosure. But for packing and shipping applications, it's pretty handy and easy to work with. And the drying time is pretty quick, but PVA needs significant time to cure and off-gas, like 3 weeks. So you really need to plan ahead and make your trays and attach your corners well ahead of time. Give yourself time for the curing. We use research paste all the time. I find it easy to work with. And we cook like 2 quarts of paste a week in the lab we work in, so we have lots on hand.
Thank you. There's just one more comment. It says, I'd like to ask if she's doing any workshops.
Oh, yeah. I had this big hinging workshop planned over COVID, and it got delayed. But pretty soon we're going to be scheduling the Japanese paper hinging workshop again, which is in person at the center in Massachusetts. We also have plans in the future for some non-adhesive attachment virtual workshops, so things like strip hinges and these corners and other techniques to attach works without gluing or adhering anything to the objects, which I'm a really big fan of. I think whenever possible, we should strive not to use adhesive attachments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me.